Okay, okay. My bad, y'all. I was having some technical difficulties on my end. I had to slow it up real quick. But yes, this is episode 6 of season 2. We are wrapping it up. We have one episode to go after this, and it's ending so quick. I feel like I said before, we just got started with it. But I will say this episode, I liked episode 5 more than episode 6. Episode 6 was cool. We definitely got the main focus on the vote heavily, and we really got to see some of our I guess core group of players go out. Not a lot of them, just one of them, I believe. And yeah, though no, the relationships in the game are really starting to take effect when it comes to 230 and the crypto guy, and then the crypto guy and his pregnant girlfriend, and Jihan and Player One. So it is a lot of things coming to a halt. But we move and we get started with episode 6, um, with the new merry-go-round game called, what is this game called again? It's called Mingle. This game, look, is basically, as I said last episode, an altered version of uh, musical chairs, except you have to, when they say a number, you gotta go get that amount of people and go into a room with that amount of people. Now, they set this game up to where only 100 people would survive the game no matter how the other rounds went, which I'm not the biggest fan of, because if that's the case, then why? Like, I just think this game was kind of lazy. I'm not the biggest fan of this game, just because these games aren't pivoted to be like that, to where there's only going to be a certain amount of people left. Now, I understand Tug of War was like that as well. Honestly, I wasn't even the biggest fan of Tug of War, but because just these games, like, it should be operated so everyone has I won't say have the ability to win. I think it should be operated to where 456 people could win the game, but the odds are very low of that. Now, I get that you have to get rid of people, but this game, just the way I think that they did too at the end, which is obvious, kind of just took the lust out of it, and I just wasn't a fan of this game. I just felt lazy. There was no real skill involved. There was very few strategies that you could use, and it wasn't much pivoting prowess with this. It did expose people's relationships, though. That's what it did do, I will say. But yes, the game starts, and the first number is 10. They must get 10 people in each room, or in a room, and all hell breaks loose. Now, we had an odd number from this. I believe it was 255 people, so automatically 5 people would be out at least. And yeah, people losing their minds, like, it's going crazy. And so the two main teams get together, 456's team and 120's team, and then they get the crazy shaman lady to join them in there. And she's she look, I see online some people don't like her, but she's actually, like, funny to me because she's just the weirdest, quirkiest lady, kind of, just off the rails, and in her own time zone. She reminds me of the crazy girl from last season that killed the bully in in Glass Bridge. So they kind of remind me of each other to an extent. And she gets in the room and she says the reason they survived is because of her. And she was in there and she started acting weird, staring at people. I'm like, this lady can see through souls or something like that? So I don't know what's going on. And so they get out of there and the next round starts. And 230, he's dancing throughout the rounds, like on the merry-go-round and whatnot. So he has no care in the world. He's kind of like the bully from season 1 without the muscle. I don't know what the big deal is, why everyone's scared of him, or it's just they think he's because he's famous and whatnot, and they're intimidated by his popularity factor. But this dude, he gets put in his place at the end of the episode, but definitely he's running things up in here, and he's funny though. I like him just because he's adding a comedic relief to it, and he has multiple facets to him. He's not just a bully. He's not just a goof. He's not just a rapper. He's not just a druggie. He's a lot of different things. So I like that. And the next number is 4 that they call. So 230 kicks 256 and says, "You're out." 230 is a fool, y'all. I was crying. So he kicks him out, and then player 1 tells him to go without him. And I thought at this moment, player 1 was gonna, like, sneak off. and like pretend he was dead and not show back up because the guards ain't gonna kill him. But then the doors lock, and room 33 only had three players in them, and there's a camera person that's radioing the guards. I'm like, look, this room only got three players. Y'all know what time it is, and so they get up in there and blast them all. And only 168 players remain after the second round. Now everyone comes out and there's blood everywhere, and I was wondering if they replaced the blood each time or if they kept the same blood spots throughout this. I'm really curious on that filming aspect of it. I would love to know that answer. 'Cause I was actually paying attention to that. I was like, is it the same blood or are they doing different blood? It looked different to me, but I could be wrong. The power of editing. Um, and so player 44, the shaman lady, continues to stare at everyone crazy. She's on her own time zone. She's definitely in her own element per se. She's casting mind spells on people. But it's funny seeing that after her freak out from last episode. But player one does make it. He comes out and he's like, "Yeah, I'm good." So we still got all our peoples, and it's laughs and jokes in between. This is like the most lighthearted part of the game for the people because, like, oh, we made it. Like, we're just gonna keep doing it. We're gonna keep making it through and whatnot. But then round three comes, and the next number is three, and this is where shit gets crazy and sideways. So the son and mom get separated. Two people grab the son, and he's just being dragged, and she's just looking at him like, "Are you gonna get out? Are you gonna say something? Do something?" He's just can't. Can't. I'm over the sun after this. You left your mom. I don't care if you got dragged away. You should have slapped the shit out of those people who brought you, who dragged you, and you should have crawled your way back to your mom and got her and you and somebody else up out of there. Now, luckily, player one and 4, 5, 6 grabbed the mom and they saved her, but that was just bad. And they even ask her like, "What happened to your son?" Well, they're in the room, and she's like, "Oh, like he's not the type to fight against other people. He's not the type to stand up for himself and boss people." And she's trying to defend her son in that manner, but ultimately he didn't fight hard enough to stay with her, which could have got her killed. And that's a red flag. I mean, he already went against his mom in the vote, and now he couldn't even stick up for himself to get back to her. Like, I think she was right where if she died, like he wouldn't care that much. So it's a very, very sad sight to see, and I think the mother slowly realizing like who truly her son is, and it's not the best man that she thought she raised. So very, very disheartening on that aspect. But the mom is sticking up for her son. She's like, "Don't talk about him. Like he's fine. That is my son. He means well." I'm like, no, he don't. He might mean well, but his actions aren't reflecting what he thinks or feels. But then it's time, after this round, 141 players are left. 230's welcome back, my friends. Or how is it? Come back, my friends, or whatever he's saying. Um, he be killing me, y'all. He needs his own spinoff if he makes it through this or next episode. And so people are starting to look at everyone a little different after each round because of who was left. When it comes to three people, everyone had the 5 team group that made it through, and then when it goes to three, you're definitely cutting corners on who you're picking and choosing. And then the people who are left out, if they survive, they're like, "Look, well, I can't trust you as far as I can throw you at this point because you left me out to dry and left me out for dead." So that part, you see the shift in people's minds and how they're looking at people in this after this round. But the son and mom reunite. They're both crying to each other. This is a very emotional scene just because in this scene you feel the hurts of the son, not being able to fight for himself enough to get his mom, and his mom feels bad about herself probably of like, dang, my son couldn't fight hard enough to get to me. So it definitely is tough to watch, and everyone in this whole room is watching them too. So it's not it's a little, it's painful to watch, I will say. Like, he knows he did wrong, and it's the psychological aspect of everything coming to a fold with things. So that part was very emotional, very sad to watch. So even though they both survived, but round four is about to start, and it's six now, and They get in their teams of six. I don't know why I'm out of breath, but it's just like it's getting to me a little bit. Um, it's six now, and they're getting the teams going through. But unfortunately, young me, player 95, the girl that's friends with 120, wasn't able to get in. She gets pushed and falls on the ground, and 333 ends up taking her place last second, and she ends up meeting her doom day and or D Day, and she dies in this episode. So that was very sad to see. I mean, she was a sweet girl. She if anyone were to die, I would expect it to be her just because she didn't have a ton of like backstory and dialogue, but very sad to see. More sad to see 120's reaction. It's hard. Like he was looking at her in the eyes, and she got shot. So I mean, these are people at the end of the day, and they're making bonds because they're with them all the time. Remember, they have no phones in here. They're not outside. They don't have internet. They're just with each other, and so you can form a big bond with these people after a couple days and truly feel like you know them. Especially if you talked about life outside of the game too, and all that's just gone just like that. So that was tough. So shout out 95. She was a real one. And 333 said there wasn't enough time and he hadn't come in, they would all be dead. So he's like, look, y'all, you should be thanking me. Like I saved y'all. And he did. He did. Now there's 126 players left. And now it is time for round five. And they announced this is the last round. And the front man suggests that it's probably going to be two people because there's 50 rooms and there's only going to be 100 of us to survive. Now that should have been a red flag to everyone on how exactly he would think that, and it happened after if they survive. I would definitely be looking at this dude like, look, how did you know that? What how did you so sure? And he was right on the money. So I would have really raised my antennas on that. Sure, he helped them out and giving them a heads up, but that's a red flag. That's a red flag. And 230, 230, 230. So before they call two, he's like, "Blah, blah, 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 let's go." And he takes off. And all the main characters survive in this one, I believe. And except so when what happens is uh player one, he gets in the room with 390, and there's another guy in there. So he pushes some guy out before he gets in. There's three of them in this room, and the clock's ticking down. So he ends up choking this dude out and uh, cracking his neck and killing him in the room. And 390 watched all of this, and he's like, "Oh snap! This is a little different." I mean, he should be thankful because he survived, but at the same time, that is alarming because of what he's capable of and so far fetched of what player one was presenting himself as to the rest of the group. So he was like, I gotta watch myself. He seen what's popping. And soon we get 100 players remain after the game, and the game is over. But soon we get back to the boat search. They're talking about finding the island again. Look. This whole boat search side story thing, I got some mixed feelings about it. Yes, it's important to kind of follow that to a degree, but they haven't made any progress since the games have started. Zero progress. They found this door and it was a trap door and it blasted off, but there's been no progress. It's just been like we're checking in on them and just nothing is going down. And I get you got to tell that side of the story too, and hopefully it comes more to a fold in episode 7, but boat search has been useless. The boat crew is just not cracking. And so we get back to the games and player 230, I'm so happy to see you again, bro. To our quiet nerd friend, as they call him. And he's like, let's play one more game. One more game. I'm like, bro, you said that last round, coach. You want to play another game? He's setting them up for failure. I think he's a plot device in the game. So yeah, it is definitely not cracking. And 333 said he wants to start over with the pregnant girl, his, their former lovers and whatnot. He pulls her to the side and says, "Hey, like, I done bad things in the past, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna forget the crypto. I'm gonna get into ETFs and futures and go with that. I have a better plan. I got good investors. Let's start anew. Let's start a life together. I want a life with you and the baby. Blah blah blah. And she's just like, look, you had your chance. I hit the road, Jack. You ain't coming back no more, no more, no more, no more. She's like, you out of here, player. Cause players, they gon' play. And so she ain't trying to hear it. She's like, I'm out. And he's gonna have to prove it really to her about, one way, some way that he's changed. And he's trying to talk her into getting back together. And people were peeping this and like, oh, like what's going on with those two? More so 230 and his goon friends. So we'll see how that transpires. I'm praying for the baby. But 44 soon says she put a curse on the people. She's like, "Oh, you're gonna die, a horrible, painful death." This, that, and the third. And I was like, "Lady, what are you doing?" Like, she is exactly like that girl from season one. Uh, I'm glad there wasn't a lady like this on my season because I would have had to. I would have got up in there. You know what I mean? I would have had to check her because she's trying to scare people and use intimidation tactics, and that ain't flying. Um, but yes, now so we get to a vote again soon, and it's like the X group needs 7 more people to change their minds to end the game to switch over. And 4, 5, 6 is like, okay, cool. I want to go talk to him, convince him, tell him my points of view, seeing if they can switch. And one's like, no, do not do that. If you do that too soon, you could scare them off. You could make it seem like you're just trying to use them. It won't seem real. Another red flag. Why would you not try and convince people of your point of view if you want them to change their minds? They're not going to change. You trusting them to change their minds on their own. That is the dumbest plan I ever thought. Like, that's like just expecting someone to start believing in Jesus without by divine intervention. And sure, it could happen, but the chances between that and somebody coming to try and educate them and put them on game, I'll take the person coming to give them information. Um, so yeah, I definitely that was another red flag, and they're missing these red flags. The thing is, like, also there's 100 people left, and he's helped them, so I could see them missing it. But at the same time, I mean, we know what's popping with the as an audience, and these red flags are starting to add up slowly. But he says if he convinced them now, it could be a big fight commence before the vote, and we don't need all that. And so then we pan back to the boat crew. They're looking for the place. They find a door with the drones. Like, okay, cool. Let's get up to this door. And so we pan back, and now the prize is 356 million per person. So as we have done in the last episodes, we're gonna translate that to how much money it would actually be. And now 335 million would be $23,770.85. Oh, 356. Sorry. I messed up. Forget what I just said. 356. I did 35. 356. Uh, ooh. Okay, we working. 356 million won would be 241,783 US dollars and 53 cents. That's not bad. I don't know why they wouldn't. I mean, how much more debt money do you need? That's $250,000 essentially pre-tax. I don't know how they do tax in Korea, but yeah, no, that's lit. I'm out. I'm done, coach. I am quitting the game, and if anyone decides not to, then they gonna have to see me after this over with my fork. And so 456 is the first one to vote now, and they say no disruptions during this time because last time they let one get off what he had to say, but they're trying to like keep him undercover, I guess. So nothing can be said during this voting process, and 456 votes first. Obviously, he votes no. 390 votes no this time. 380 switches. Guard 11 gets told if you had followed. So soon we pan to guard 11 after the last game, and gets told if you had followed the rules earlier, you wouldn't have a scratch on your pretty face, because she didn't kill the people that were almost dead but weren't dead yet, to use their organs. And so I'm still trying to understand her POV on things, and why she's doing what she's doing and why they care so much. Hopefully we get to that next episode. And soon we get 2:30, time to vote, and he skips up to the voting clock and just smashes no with his teeth and yells, "Circle, let's go!" I love 2:30, man. I hate him, but I love him at the same time. And all ports 125. So they trying to bully 125. They trying to use this man, as their lackey, and he's getting peer pressured heavily by 2:30 and his goon. But he picks X. He stands up for himself and says, "I'm done with y'all, coach." 120 picks X as well, our trans friend. And then we pan back to the boat team soon. We find the hatch, and they try to get the hatch open, but it explodes, killing one of the members there and severely injuring another. So they're caught. They're definitely being spied on. They're definitely being ployed into opening false booby traps, and they're kind of at a dead end. Now they have the right island, I feel like, at this point, but they don't know where to go on this island. So you might just want to stick with the drone and maybe throw a rock at the thing next time, or use a stick to try and open it if it's going to do all that. Now it is, and so 6 players switch to yes. We get back to the dorms, and that's a shame. I wonder why they went from no to yes. That didn't really make sense for anyone to go no to yes. If they were going to say yes last time, why would they switch it this time? That definitely didn't make sense either. A few things in this episode did not make sense. But now it's time for player one to vote, and he voted. It was 49-50, and he voted to say no to tie it up. It's tied, and just as 390 was gonna say, he was about to tell 456 about what he did in last game and killing the guy, but he stopped himself as soon as he realized he voted no because he was about to throw him on the bus and really put the final target on his back with all these red flags. But he stopped himself. And since it's a tie, the guards say that everyone will vote tomorrow to give them more time to think. It's nice, and I do like about the guards the most in Squid Game is like the guards will be fair accordingly. They're not like they have rules and regulations they follow. They're not just acting as they want to act. You don't have them acting out and ruining the game and the principle of it. So I do appreciate that. And soon it looks like they gave everyone Coke and like a biscuit. And player one now says they should try and convince the other players. So you telling me you didn't want to convince the players earlier, but now you want to convince the players? What changed? Why didn't anybody ask him what changed? I don't understand that. Another red flag. Like all these flags just coming up. All these flags. And so the players on the no side, are trying to be convinced that the others that you'll get some food. We can get out of here. You'll have delicious. I mean, the mother son started this. Like, don't you want some delicious food back at home? You can eat all you want. You can buy your own shop. And 388 comes back and he's like, "What? Y'all too scared to play in this next game? I thought y'all was about that life." And so there comes to a big and Tony argument. And it's funny they don't cross their red and blue respective lines on each side. So a brawl is definitely pre-ensuing. And soon everyone is arguing back and forth. Can't really make out what's being said too much. And 456 is soon realizing during this argument that they were given metal forks. Oh, no, no. Hey, and it's we'll see what them forks can do. I didn't know forks was that strong. But soon 230 and the goon are in the bathroom pressuring Minsu hardcore 125 just because he voted differently this time and against them. And they're trying to see what's popping because that was not part of the plan. I'm so fucking angry, man. Oh, 230, 230, 230, 230, bruh. Keep him around. Well, keep him around, please. But looks like at the end of this episode, I don't know how much longer he gonna last. But yeah, they're arguing the backroom stall, and soon, uh, 333 and the rest of the X squad are going against 230 and the rest of the Circle squad. So they're at a face off, a standstill, a cowboy rodeo, and all of a sudden, the brawl ensues and happens. Boom, boom. It's going crazy, y'all. It's going crazy. People getting flung all over the place. 230 got some hands too. I'll give him that. That boy been to that Tai Chi class. You know, he taking them out, Tekken style. So he's turning up, and he was choking out MG Coin, um, which MG Coin is the crypto guy, and he's on him. He's didn't work. It looks like he's about to make him pass out, and all of a sudden, 230 gets stabbed with a fork underneath his chin, and the blood starts gushing out, and that's where the episode fades out. Whoo, y'all! The violence was crazy this episode. Definitely, it was intense, and I was living for it too. But yeah, y'all, it definitely is coming. You know, we have one episode left. The games are winding down and the brawl has ensued, and who knows if we'll even get one more game, you know, especially with somebody possibly dying in the brawl, which I feel like somebody's got to die in this brawl, or at least get severely injured to where maybe they can't compete anymore. Who knows? But I'm curious to see how this vote turns out and what number one's going to do about it, because ultimately he tied it because he knows that if he said yes, his cover's blown, and if he didn't have to have his cover blown, he's cool with it. So yeah, y'all, that's it for episode 6. We're on the finale finally of season 2. Thank you so much for joining me again, and I will see y'all when we get to that episode, which will be very, very soon. So till then, y'all, peace, blessings, deuces, and have a great rest of your day. And also let me know what you thought about this episode. Did you like it? Did you love it? Or did you hate it? Because I'm curious and I want to hear it. All right, y'all, we out.